Hi, welcome to the fourth video of A Drop of Excel. If you have directly come to this video, please go through the introduction of this 12 video series called A Drop of Excel, see the first videos and then come back here. Alright, let's continue. So now we are going to learn the most interesting part, that is formulas and functions, because everything and anything around Excel typically works with this. So until now what you've learned is more about the basic stuff, how to use the basic things in Excel. Now we'll start getting into the formulas and functions. Before we do that, let's at least first cover what is the difference between entering data and formula, what is the formula bar, the significance of the formula bar, and then we'll actually start getting into the formula and function and the creation of different formulas. Right? So first let's focus on the 4.1. So what is the difference between entering data and entering formulas? Right? So I'm just going to zoom in a little. First let me cover entering data. So if I type my name and if I press tab, what will happen is I will go to the next column. If I type my surname or anything for that matter, if I press enter, I will go down. So typically tab takes you to the right side and enter takes you down. As simple as that. Now that we are entering data, if I want to edit something, I will press F2 on the keyboard, F2. Some of you who are using a laptop which requires the function F2. So if F2 is not working, suppose it is reducing your brightness or something, it's as simple as that. You have a function key, Fn key on your laptop, press that and then press F2. So your cursor will start blinking at the end of the cell. It means now you are in the editing mode. Once you're in the editing mode, you can type whatever you want. Right? If I press enter, again I'm going down. If I would have pressed tab, I would have gone to the right. Now you will tell me why this tab to go to the right and why this enter to go down. Why not just use the arrow keys on the keyboard, right? So the reason is when I'm in the editing mode, that is when I press F2, to come out of the cell, I cannot press the up, down, left, right. I will have to use the enter and the tab keys. Is that making sense? To come out of the cell, I will have to use the enter, the tab keys. Otherwise, I will not be able to come out of the cell using the arrow keys. So I'm pressing tab. Another very important thing. If I go here and I press edit, that is F2, and I type something, let's say I put my surname, but instead of typing enter or tab, I press escape. Then it will not do those changes. So if you ever done something which you did not want, you just press escape and it goes away. As simple as that, right? If you want to overwrite some data on this cell, you do not have to go and delete and then type something else. Not required. I'm going to press escape. I'm going to press undo, that is Control Z. If I want to overwrite this, I can just go to the cell and I can start typing and it just works. Simple. So that is about entering data. Now we will see how to enter a formula. So the difference between entering data on a formula is as simple as starting with an equal to sign. So when you start with an equal to sign, it is no more data, it is a formula. So if I type SUM, this becomes something. If I just select this, this becomes something. We will learn all this, but I'm just saying that when you type an equal to in the beginning, that is when you indicate Excel that whatever I'm going to give now is not data, it is a formula. Alright, moving on. Formula versus function. Now what is a formula and what is a function, right? So we understood that entering a formula starts with equal to. If I just press equal to 1 plus 2 and if I press enter, what I will get is a 3. So this is typically a formula, right? There is another way that if I type equal to SUM, now this is a list of functions. Instead of just an equal to formula, this is a list of functions. So what we are going to do is use a lot of pre-built functions in Excel to do a lot of kinds of work. So for example, SUM is for addition. Similarly, if I type COUNT, that is for some counting. What does it mean? How to use it? We will learn that. But these are the different kind of functions. So if I want to get a list of functions, I can go to the formulas tab on top. Here you see these functions categorized. So if I go to date and time, I see date and time related functions, financial related functions, text related functions, math and trigger related functions. If I click on more, I can get more. So these are the kind of a lot of these functions that we will be learning. Obviously, this is a huge library. You don't need to get into all of these. What we are going to learn in this 12 video series should be enough for you to get started with a lot of Excel related work. Okay. Now let's see how to actually start entering formulas and functions. So we're going to use this table. This file has been uploaded and you will see a link in the description below. So you please download this file from the link below and then you can use this to fill this data, right? And then you can use this file. What we're going to first do is, please try to understand that this number 10 is in the cell H2. This number 20 is in the cell H3 and then so on and so on. What we are going to do is use the cell I2 first. So I'm going to press equal to and I want to add two numbers. So I'm going to press 10 plus 20. When I do this and I press enter, I get the answer as 30, as simple as that, right? Now, when I want to add these numbers, not by entering 10 and 20 manually, but from here, then with my mouse, I can go and click on this. So what I get here is H2. Now you see that in blue color, right? Plus what you see is something is moving around, right? So that selection is not complete yet. If I click somewhere else, my selection changes. So if I click back here and I click on plus, that rotation has stopped. That moving around is stopped. So my selection is complete. And I can click on H3. Once I'm done, I just press enter. In both the cases, that is equal to 10 plus 20 and is equal to H2 plus H3, I'm getting the same result, right? But why do I need to prefer to do this than this is because tomorrow if I want to change the value of 10 and 20, in the first case, I will have to press F2 to edit and then edit these values manually. Here, I don't need to do F2 on the formula. I just need to change this value and 45 plus 20 will give me 65. This is the most important feature in Excel, that you are able to reference the value from another cell and do a lot of stuff dynamically. Is that making sense? Moving on. I'll make this back as 10. Now, we will do something more. What we will do is we'll press equal to and add three numbers. So I'm going to take this plus this plus this. Now in all the three cases, you see the colors are different. So whenever you select cells, the color reference changes and it tells you that this blue is here, this red is here, and this purple is here. You may get different colors based on the Excel version, but typically this is what it indicates, that what color is where. Alright, so this is how you've created a formula. Now we are going to learn into creating functions. So we've already seen what is the difference between formula and function. Now what we are going to see is when we create a function, we will see what are the parts of a function. Alright, so I'll press equal to. Now the function for addition is SUM. Okay, now I'm going to leave the mouse for now. When I press SUM, I get a list of all functions starting with the SUM letters. So if I press the down arrow key, the selection changes, right? Now I want the SUM functions. I'm going to keep my cursor there. I'm not going to go down further and I'm going to press tab. When I press tab, two things happened. One is the bracket automatically opened. So you do not have to open that manually. And second is the SUM that you wrote in small letters became capital automatically. So that indicates that yes, you are on the right track. The function that you're using is fine. Please go ahead. Alright. So the bracket is the first thing that opens up automatically. Now, the parts of a function of the sum function is being indicated below. So you see a number 1, then a number 2. right? These are the parts of the sum function. Now there are little differences in this. So you see number 1 is written in bold, number 2 is not written in bold. Whereas number 1 does not have box brackets, number 2 has box brackets. Why? So what is the difference? So bold means that is the current parameter, right? Whatever you're going to enter right now is going to get accepted inside number 1. The box bracket means whatever is in box brackets is optional. Whatever is without the box bracket is mandatory. So right now number 2 is optional, number 1 is mandatory. Now there is a dot at the end, means you can add more parameters. You can add n number of numbers in the case of a sum function, but in the case of a VLOOKUP function, the number of parameters are fixed to 4, right? So let's start. So I'm going to put the number 1 as 1, 0, 10. Now when you are finished with one parameter and you want to move to the next parameter, you have to press the comma. By pressing the comma, below you see that now the number 2 has become bold. So that is the current parameter now. So whatever you will give will be going into number 2. So I'll press 20, comma. So you see the number of parameters increasing because of the dot. I add number 3, done. Now when you're done, let's say I want to add these 3 numbers. Now I want to close the bracket. So I'm going to press Shift and 0. There is no other shortcut to close the bracket. The way we use tab to open the bracket, there is no shortcut to close the bracket. You have to press Shift and 0. Once you're done, you press enter. Pause the video here, go try this much out and then come back. Alright, please do not go further. Try it out yourself. Only then you'll be able to learn it really well. Moving on, equal to SUM tab. Now we did the 10, 20 and 30 manually. Right now what we are going to do is we are going to select it from the H column. So now instead of typing 1 and 0, I'm going to click with my mouse on H2, comma, I'm going to click on H3. Again the colors are changing, comma, H4. Close the bracket, enter. Now do you remember that in the first time when we were learning the basics, we had spoken about a comma in between 2 cell references. Do you remember that, everyone? Remember this? We had spoken about comma, right? So this is what we have just done. Moving on, now we'll create a range. Now if you wanted to add 3 numbers, this was fine. If you wanted to add 100 numbers, you would have gone crazy doing comma, right? So what we will do is we'll press SUM tab, click on the first number, keep Shift on the keyboard pressed and click on the last number, and you see H2 to H6. Now mind you, the color of H2 and H6 is same because it is a single selection. So the colors change when the selection changes. Bracket close, enter. What we just did was this. Interesting? Moving on. Equal to sum tab. I'll just teach you one more method of doing the same exact thing. So after clicking on the first, you don't leave your mouse. You keep it clicked. You drag your mouse below and you leave it. This is also possible. Close the bracket, enter. If there is any confusion in what we just did, just rewind the video a little and try it again and you'll understand very, very properly. Last thing, equal to sum tab. Now what we are going to do is we are going to add these numbers and only this 100 numbers. So I'm going to select this, press a comma and select this one number. The color has changed because the selection changed. Now look at this and look at this, the combination. So we've in a way already learned all this, but now we are putting it into actual practice of how to use this theory that we learned. Interesting? Enter. Now if you wanted to add the entire H column, you will do a sum tab, click on the H column on top and you see an H to H, close the bracket and enter. H to H is your D to D in the entire column, and these are also similarly done. So that was about creating functions, understanding what is a part of the functions, how a function is used, how a formula differs from a function. Now we're done with addition. Let's look at subtraction. No, there cannot be any function for subtraction, because if I, let's say, do a subtract a1 comma a2 comma a3, what will subtract from what? It doesn't make any logical sense, right? But we can always do this minus this. What we should know is the BODMAS, BODMAS. You must have done that in school. So brackets is the most important thing. So if I do a 150, that is I8 minus into bracket this minus this, close the bracket. How it will work is, it will first negate I6, I3. So it will do I6 minus I3, which will be 60 minus 30, which will be 30. And then it will do 150, that is I8 minus of the result of that. Similarly, if I had opened one more bracket and I said 60 plus I3, I would have closed the bracket one more time. So now I4 plus I3 would have happened first, then I6 minus of that, and then I8 minus of that. Also observe, this bracket and this bracket color is same, this bracket and this bracket color is same. So corresponding brackets color are always same. Enter. Alright, now let's go to multiplication. The sign for multiplication is this star asterisk. This. As simple as that. So you put a star, or you can directly even do this multiplied by a static number. Let's say 120. For division, it is the number forward slash by another number. So for multiplication, it is asterisk, a star, and for division, it is a front slash. So that's all about understanding how to create formulas and functions. Moving on. Let's learn some more functions now. Okay, and then we also see what is the difference between a measure and a calculated column. So the first thing that we are going to do is, on this data set, which has inventory quantity, cost price and sell price, what we are going to do is we are going to make the profit column. So we'll put an equal to sign, sell price, which is E2 in this case, minus the cost price, right? So we get the value. Let's try it again. Equal to sell price minus cost price. Now I cannot keep doing that for every row, right? So one option is, I will copy this formula, Control C. I will select all these and press Control V, and you see row wise the values have come in automatically. I'm going to delete them. I'm going to delete this. This is fine, but what if I had 10,000 rows of data? The copying and pasting would have been tougher. So I would take my cursor to the bottom right, click and drag, and done. That's how also you can copy paste. Interesting. Try this out and then come back. You can pause the video here. Third and the most useful method, as I said, if I had 10,000 rows of data. Now this dragging also would be difficult for 10,000 rows of data. So rather than that, what I would do is I would just double click on that right bottom, boom, and it automatically happens. So what it does is it goes to a point where there is a blank and it does your copy paste until that point. So even if I had 10,000 rows which are completely properly filled, it would have done it for 10,000 rows immediately. Interesting. Next, moving on. I want to calculate the profit percent. Now, how do you calculate the profit percent? You take the profit divided by the sell price. And now on that, I'm going to apply the percentage sign. And I can increase the decimals if I want. I can decrease the decimals if I want. Now I'm going to double click and boom, all my profit margins are calculated. Now I'm going to do this for the markup. Now what is a markup? A markup is the profit on the cost price. So how a profit margin is on the sell price, a markup is on the cost price. So in this case, my markup is 67%. Interesting. Now, I want to calculate shipping at 5%. Alright, I want to calculate shipping at 5%. What I need to do is, I need to first calculate the shipping price itself. So I'm going to take the sell price, multiplied by 5 and a percentage symbol. You can put a percentage symbol. You don't have to do into 5 divided by 100. You don't have to do that. Into 5. And that becomes the shipping value on that sell value, right? And to get the total sell price, I'm going to do equal to sell price plus the shipping. Make sense? And again double click and drag it. So this I got. Now if you observe, you got the shipping total price by making 2 columns. First calculate the shipping value and then adding it, right? So how do I do both the things in one single formula? The way we learn brackets, that is how you do it. So you say the sell price plus the sell price into 5%. So first it will calculate the shipping cost and then add that to the sell price. Both these columns will happen in one single step. See, I got the same values here and here as well. Interesting, everyone. This is how you start learning your formulas. So again, pause the video here, try all this yourself, keep reviewing the video by doing a back and a forward, check everything that you want to. Make sure that you've got these results properly, you understood how to do it, and then move forward. Otherwise the entire exercise will become futile. Moving on. Now what we have done till now, we have created additional columns. So what is a calculated column? A calculated column is basically separate value for each row, right? Sorry about that. For a separate value for each row, that is a calculated column. But what is a measure? A single value from particular cell or cells, right? Derived, I can say derived from cells. Now when I say derived, it can be calculated or it can be whatever the way it is. So now until now what we have done is we have created calculated columns, right? We got separate value for each row. So here it was E2 plus I2, E3 plus I3, E4 plus I4, E5 plus I5 and so on. Now what we're going to do is we're going to create measures. So what is the first measure that we're going to create? We're going to create a sum of the inventory quantity. Now I'll just show you how to quickly run the sum of the inventory quantity. Okay. So I'm going to point to the first value in the inventory column. That is C2. Now see the formula here. Now after clicking on the first value, I'm going to press a Control Shift down. Now what is the formula coming up? C2 to C17 automatically, right? C2 to C17. I will close the bracket and press Tab or Enter. I'm pressing Tab. So I've created a single value derived from cells. That is a measure. So I've created the sum of inventory quantity as a measure. Same way, just for practice, you can take a sum of cost price. So I'm going to do sum of cost price. So I'm going to go here, click on D2, Control Shift down, close the bracket and tab. And for sell price, I'm going to say sum of sell price, which is this. Control Shift down, close the bracket and enter. Interesting. Do this much and then carry forward. The next function that we are going to learn is max. So I'm going to say equal to max tab. Now what is the difference? Max means that you want the max value. So I'm going to click on this, Control Shift down, close the bracket and enter. What it gives you is highest value in the inventory column. Cost price. So I'm going to say equal to max and I'm going to go here, Control Shift down, close the bracket and tab. This gives me the highest cost price of any SKU. Similarly equal to max and sell price. The way we did max, I'm going to do min quickly for each. You can also do it. I don't need to teach you this now. Some of you who know Excel, who have been using Excel for quite some time, may think that I'm doing a lot of things manually. I'm not doing a copy paste on the right side. Don't worry about that. There is a clear understanding of that in the further videos. I'm doing this mainly for the people who are learning right now, right? So if you've not used Excel much, this is the way to learn. Average. So you obviously know what is the meaning of average. The function is equal to average. I'm going to do that. So I'll take the average of the quantity. Tab. Similarly, you can do it for the cost price and sell price now. I will not continue doing that. You can try all this yourself. Next, what is count, what is count A, and what is count blank? Alright, so I'll just show you the differences. Count A, count blank. So what is count? It counts only numbers and dates. Count A counts everything which is numbers, dates, or even text except blanks. And count blank counts only blanks. Please remember these three rules. Count A is only numbers and dates. Count A is everything except blanks, and count blank is only blanks. So I'm going to go to count. And because it is numbers and dates only, I'm not going to be able to take a text column. But to explain you, I'm going to first take a text column. So I will say equal to count, and I'm going to take a text based column. Let's say I take this column and I say tab. I got a 0. It will not be able to count text. I'm going to change this. Let's say I take this profit column. I close the bracket and I press enter. I got a 16. What does this mean? That there are 16 values present in this profit column. Now the question says inventory quantity. So you do it for the inventory column when you are doing it. I'm just showing this for practice, for learning, right? Now, out of these 16, if I delete any one value, you see that the value here becomes 15. Because from all of these, 16 may be the number of cells selected, but the number of cells that have a value in terms of either a number or a date are only 15. I'm going to get that value back, Control Z. Count A. Now for count A, it also counts text, right? So now if I take this column, and if I close the bracket and press tab, it works. It counts the text also. Count blank counts only blanks. So if I do a count blank, count B tab, and I select the profit column, I will get 0 because there are no blanks here. But earlier when we deleted this, see here it has become 15 and now here it has become 1. Interesting, everyone? Undo. Alright, now let's learn the round. Okay, so now I did an average here, right? I found the average here, which was 433.875. Now I want to round this average to 0 digits or 1 digit or 2 digits. It's up to me. So I can say equal to round tab. It has two parameters. It says number and number of digits. I'm going to take the number, comma. I can put the number of digits that I want after the decimal. It can be 0, it can be 1, whatever you need. So I'm going to put 0 for now. Close the bracket, enter. That's why I got 434. If I put 1 here, I would have got 433.9. If I would have put 2 here, I would have got 433.88. You got the understanding properly? That is how round works. Try it out for whatever other examples as well. Now what is ceiling? Let's say I get the sum as 6942 or an average of 433 or a round as 433, but I don't want this value like this. What I want is I want this value to be the nearest 100 on the top side. So what is the nearest 100 of 433.88? It is 500. What is the nearest 100 of 433 on the bottom side is 400. If I take tens, then the nearest 10 to this number on the topper side is 440 and on the below side is 430. That's what we're going to do. So I'm going to take ceiling for the upper side, take the number, comma, I put the value. So if I want to have the nearest 10, I'll put 10. If I want the nearest 100, I'll put 100. Close the bracket, enter. I got 500. Similarly, if I take floor, take the number, close the bracket with the significance, I get 400. So if I change this instead of 100 to 10, I get 440 and here I get 430. So these are all the most essential functions that you must know, without which there is no point of learning further, right? These are the ones that you must know properly without any doubt in your mind. So with that, we are done with this particular video. We have learned these details. Go ahead, practice all of this at least 2 to 3 times before you move further. If you have any kind of questions in this, please put it in the comment section below and I'll be happy to help. Most importantly, if you learned something new, please like, share and subscribe so that many other people can also learn about this. And yes, this is the 4th video. There are 8 more to go. A lot of new things to learn. Happy learning and enjoy all the videos. Please put in the comment section whatever you feel about, something you liked, something you didn't like, anything. Thank you.